Hello, my name is Jessica Charbonneau, and I will be talking to you today about how to be a successful discus thrower. Have you ever wondered what the professional discus throwers do to be so successful besides just working on their technique? I know I did when I was trying to learn the ins and outs of the event. A large part of competing well comes from confidence, familiarity, and practice. Every thrower, even the best of the best, go through their own up and downs from time to time, and at those times they have to rely on the basics. Believe it or not, but throwing the discus well involves more than just a good turn. Today I plan to give you all the basic information about how to be successful in this event. I hope that by the end of my presentation you will have better understanding of the rules and how to have a good warm-up before the competition or practice. I also plan to give you some tips for practices and competitions. So, if you don't already know, which you should, but what is the discus? The discus dates back to approximately 708 BC and the 18th Olympiad in ancient Greece, where it was first added to the pentathlon along with wrestling, javelin, running, and other jumping events. This event is unique in the fact that it involves spinning around about 1.5 times while remaining inside a circle and throwing between two sector lines. Many things in this event have changed since it was first added, including weights, sizes of the discus, sector, and circle. The current weights of the discus are of the following for the different ages and gender classes. As you can tell from the table presented, women throw the same weight all through the years that they throw, from youth all the way to professional. Men, however, they change. They throw a 1 kilogram disc for 11 to 14 year olds. For high school, they move up to 1.6 kilogram, and for college, they throw a 2 kilogram. Alright, so what are some of the rules and regulations? Every thrower has 1 minute to initiate their throw. Once the throw is initiated, then that minute stops and you have the rest of the time to actually complete your throw. The discus must land in between two sector lines in order to be counted as fair. If it lands on the line, it is not considered a fair throw. It has to be between the two lines. Athletes must remain inside the throwing circle at all times during the throw, and if at any point they step out, the throw is considered a foul and is not measured. And then once a throw is completed, the thrower is under control, the athlete may walk out of the back of the ring only. There should be two clearly marked lines on either side of the middle of the ring, and if you walk, you must walk outside. If you walk over top of it, you're considered it's considered to be a foul. You must walk out the back. Good sportsmanship is always required. No foul language is allowed, and if you do use some foul language, then you are subject to disqualification. And lastly, just throw far. So now that we have, now we need to go over some good ways to get the body loose and blood pumping. Athletes need to always remember that a good warm-up is essential to having a successful practice or competition day. Many throwers choose to run or jog a lap around the track or throwing area, but others prefer short sprints to get the body firing and ready to go. It really doesn't matter which you choose to do, and you may choose to do both, but either or is always a good idea. Dynamic stretching is also a good way to get the body loose. Some include high knees, butt kicks, karaoke, side lunge, just regular lunge, and pretty much any active stretching is always a good idea. Hip circles and leg swings are also a good way to get your hips loose, and as well as the lower body. To perform these, you will go up against a wall or a fence or anything you can use to stabilize yourself. You'll put both hands on the wall, and you will you'll swing one leg in between the wall and your other leg, and you'll just swing it back and forth like the bottom of the clock, and then you'll switch legs and do a few of those. And then for the hip circles, you will be in the same position. You'll only, instead of swinging your leg, you're going to bend your leg at your knee, and you will move your leg in a circular motion to loosen up your hips. You can do these forwards and back. And then you're going to switch to your other side and do that as well. And another way you can do these is get on your hands and your knees, and then you're going to lift one leg up, bend, and it's going to have a bend in it, and you're going to just do the circles that way, and it has the same effect. Arm circles and stretching are also a very good idea. You can do forward arm circles, backward arm circles, arm swings, and then just other like static stretching for your arms. You always want to be focused during warm-ups. A good focused warm-up can mean the difference between a first place and a second place finish. And you also want to form a routine. Find the things that work for you and stick to them. Don't do warm-ups one way in practice, but then another way in your competition. You want to stay consistent all the way through. It builds from familiarity, and you expect what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen most of the time. You know, there's always those things that happen, but form a routine. If your body isn't warm and loose, it will be hard for you to hit those positions needed, and therefore you won't throw as far as you would like. So it's very important to get in a very good warm-up. Now I'll just give you a little information on safety. It's not very much, but it's a very important topic. Safety should be the first priority. Make sure other athletes, coaches, and officials and spectators are paying attention at all times. You need to make sure that they're paying attention before each and every throw, not just your first throw in your series. You need to make sure that they're paying attention every throw. Ultimately, this is only a sport, and it's not worth risking someone's life. Alright, so now some strategies to having a good practice. Many athletes, especially young ones, have a tendency to think that just showing up for practice is enough, but becoming a great thrower involves more than just doing that. Here's a list of good practice habits to form in order to become a better thrower and competitor. Only work on one or two things at practice. If you get more than that, you can just get confused and it doesn't end up working out well. Evaluate where you end up after the throw has been completed. You need to assess where you ended up. Were you fouling? Were you on the left or right side of the front of the circle? Were you falling backwards? Were you unbalanced? All these things will tell you where or what you're doing wrong, and usually what you need to fix in order to get better. Never practice fouling. You always walk out of the back, no matter what. I know a lot of us